Hello, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist. And I've been hearing a lot about miracles lately. And I had a miracle happen to me once. Well, probably a few times. But there's one in particular I'd like to share with you. The miracle that happened to an atheist. You see, my wife is Catholic, and I've known her for a very long time. Well, not very long, but 20 plus years. And we dated for a while, and then I left town, did something else, broke her heart. And I came back to town and was here and thought about looking her up, but I thought, I broke her heart, I gotta leave her alone. And after about a year and a half, I thought, I'd really like to see her. At least, know what she's up to. And I used to go through her old neighborhood, not in a stalky kind of way, but because that's just happened to be the way I was going, and like, oh yeah, this is where she used to live. So anyways, after about, a year, 9 months or so, I decided, you know what? I think about her a lot, and I just want to know if she got married or what happened to her or whatever. So I decided, this was on Friday, I'm going through her old neighborhood, and I decided on Monday, I'm going to look her up. I'm going to find out what happened to her. I'm going to find out if she's married and find out something about her. Just Monday, that's the day I'm going to do it. So that Monday, I'm at work, as I typically am on a Monday, and I'm on the other side of the building. Now I work in a fairly large building, and I work on one end of the building, and I was on the other end of the building for meeting, an end of the building that I'm not typically at, and that's the side of the building that the reception area is on. Anyway, so I'm coming back from this meeting. It's a random time of day, no particular time, but coming back from this meeting, poke my head into the reception area, and there's somebody in there, and I just see her backside, and I thought, I know who that is. So I come moseying along into the reception side and take one look, and sure enough, it's my old girlfriend. And she takes one look at me and she bolts out the door and she runs the hell out of there, and I'm like, I'm not going to let her get away. And I chase after her and say, oh, come on, just tell me something. And she didn't want to talk to me, obviously. And so I said, well, at least take my number. And she called, and the rest is history. We're married and have a kid. So anyways, now, if you look at that, I had been there for almost 2 years working that company. And I had decided on that particular day I was going to look her up. And I'm on the end of a building that I'm not typically, at a time, no random time, and she's in there looking for a job at the particular time that I just happened to be there, poking my head into the reception area. What are the chances? It's a miracle. As my wife tells me, it was fate. It was a sign from God. It was meant to be. It was a miracle. Honest to God miracle. Really. It really was. Because there's no possible way that could have ever happened. It's the chances are just so astronomically high, it's impossible that that could have ever just have happened. It had to have been preordained. Right? No, not right. That's just... These things happen all the time. But because it was meaningful to me, and in this case it was greatly meaningful, it was dramatic, it was intense, it was like, oh my gosh, how is this possible? But these things happen all the time. Coincidences happen all the time. But when they're meaningful, they are, just unbelievable. And when they're semi-meaningful, like, wow, that was, what are the chances? And when they're not meaningful, we don't even acknowledge them. But these things happen continually. You might bump into somebody in a grocery store and bump into that exact same person at the exact same store, but in a different state, and you'd never know. You just, what are the chances? The chances are astronomical! But you didn't notice, so it's not a miracle. It's only a miracle when it's meaningful. Big surprise. I tell you what a miracle is. You know what a miracle is? The supernatural. Something that defies the laws of physics as we understand it, that's a miracle. You bring me that, I'll say, yes, that's a miracle. Anything else, that's not a miracle. That's coincidence. Now, it may seem like a miracle, it may seem dramatic, it may seem unbelievable, and the chances are 1 in quadrillion, but it isn't impossible. Therefore, it is possible. So when it happens, even though it's dramatic, even though it's amazing, it's just a coincidence. It just happened, and it's meaningful for you, and you see it as a miracle. Now let me ask you something this. When something bad happens, when something that has the chances of something specifically bad happens, that the chances are unsurmountable, is that a miracle? If you take note, like, oh, what are the chances of my car blowing up right before I drove over a cliff? You know, just probably wouldn't notice that because you'd be blown up. But anyways, you get my point. When something coincidental that's astronomically inconceivable but bad, it's not a miracle, is it? It's just bad luck. Well, there is no bad luck, it's just a coincidence. Everything, pretty much, is a coincidence that you notice. It's chance. Everything happens by chance. But don't take that the wrong way. It's just not randomly happening. These are built up situations. They are cascading events. And sure, you can say it's God's plan in action, but it's not. It's just cascading events that cause things to happen, and sometimes you notice them and sometimes you don't. But they're just coincidences. And that's all they are. They're not miracles. You show me something that defies the laws of physics. You turn water into wine, actually turn water into actual wine, then I'll call it a miracle. But if you turn clear liquid into a red liquid, that's magic. Actually, it's not even magic, it's just trick. Penn and Teller do it all the time. But it's not a miracle. It just seems that way. Anyways, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and pray for miracles? I don't know.